Welcome back to the Commanders Declassified podcast. I am LE. Eric, what's going on, man?
It's just the two of us like old times. How about that?
Just the two of us. It is
Bill Withers.
like it was when we started. That's right, Bill Withers. And
That's a good jam.
shout out. It is a great jam. Shout out to Mike. Mike is out skiing in Arizona. You go figure that out. I don't know how he's doing that. And Brian is at the swaddling Olympics in Upper New Jersey. And they're going to have a great time. We wish them the best. But we tonight are going to talk to you about a couple of things. Number one, the Rams game coming up. Number two, what Sam Howell has to do to prove himself for whoever is next in this organization to coach this football team. Number three, is there any chance for Eric Bieniemy to save his skin here? And number four, what we want to see from certain players the rest of the way. And of course, we're only talking about players that are going to be here because, and a lot of them, Eric, because we don't have a lot of guys under contract. Before we do all that, I like to pay the bills, man. Let's go ahead and pay the bills. Eric, when you hear your theme music, you know what to do, sir. Insert the theme music.
There it is. I was hoping to be Bill Withers, but okay, I can live with this. Got to pay the bills. I saw my light flickering earlier. Got to make sure we get those bills paid. Hey, can you believe it? We're this deep in the NFL season. We got to make every second count with DraftKings Sportsbook. You can make the most out of every game day. Bet on your favorite teams for a shot at winning big bucks. New customers can score $150 instantly in bonus bets for betting 5 on any matchup. I don't even know what the odds are this week. I know that ours are a long shot. I know that my fantasy opponent for round one of the playoffs has like 3 Rams players. And I'm probably losing in the first round. That's all I know about odds this week. But you betting types, you know what's going on. You know the ways to win. You know all of the prop bets, and we can help you make that happen at DraftKings. Get in on the action with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Download the app now. Use code CDP11. That's Commanders Declassified Podcast, abbreviated 11. New customers can score $150 instantly in bonus bets just for betting $5 on the NFL. Only DraftKings Sportsbook with code CDP11. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER in New York. It's 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In West Virginia, visit www.1800gambler.net. Please play responsibly. In Connecticut, help is available for gambling. For problem gambling, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, must be 21 or older in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms.
Thank you, man. That was pretty smooth. You're getting so good at this thing, man.
Yeah, it helps without like coughing up lungs from bronchitis, which I had all last month. So I'm only coughing up little lungs now. Glad I can help in some way. I'm some sort of used to this podcast.
You're the GOAT, man. All right, this week we got the Rams. We are 6.5-point underdogs, to answer your question about what the spread is. I watched.
I think we might have lost Ellie.
I'm the pretty Rams sure play the Ravens.
Oh, there he is. Sorry. Had you freezing up on me a little bit.
Yeah, that's because my wife. Initial thoughts on the game?
It's we're in that slog of December at this point, aren't we? Where it's just like, let's just get the season over with and minimize the damage. 6.5 seems low. The Rams have been playing well. They're putting up points. I mean, they lost last week, but they put up 31 against a very good Ravens team. Matthew Stafford's going to have a field day against the secondary. We know it's going to happen. The young running back, what's his name? Can't think of his name right now. I had it written down. Excuse me, and completely forgot to pull it up on my phone. But anyway, you've got Nakua is out there getting it done. The Rams, maybe not are the Super Bowl team that they were a few years ago, but they're very much in contention for the playoffs, and it wouldn't surprise me at all to see them there. We are very much the opposite of that. I don't think the defense is going to have gotten any better. I think we're at a point where players are playing for jobs, but I think they've checked out a little bit. Maybe I'm wrong, but we'll see. I don't see it. I don't see this. This is not going to be a fun game to watch. Plus, Matthew Stafford's like 9-0 career against Washington. So I don't see that changing this week.
That dude
Well,
was absolutely
he might go to
fire.
10-0. That's how it's going to change. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was just incredible. It was like watching him in a time machine last week against the Ravens. And the Ravens have a really good defense, and we don't. The throws that this guy was making was just incredible. He and Lamar going, tit for tat last game was just marvelous to watch. And I've never really enjoyed watching the Rams, but last week was just incredible. They also have this really fast running back. I think who was it?
Kyron Williams. That's what I was trying to think of. Yeah.
This guy is just insanely quick. And without Jamin Davis this week, I just don't know how we're going to have any answers. And then, of course, if you don't have answers, then what does that do? That puts pressure on the offense to overproduce. Now, the Rams were really good against the Ravens' run game last week, excluding Lamar. But the running backs for the Ravens last week were not up to where they normally play to. The Rams had a significant number of defensive breakdowns in the secondary, though. So if there's a game that our offense can get some big plays down the field, which we've been really struggling to do, it's against the Rams. At least the Ravens were able to. I mean, Lamar was cutting up that secondary, and they were really focusing on the deep ball that game, and the Rams just had no answers for it. Now, we don't necessarily have – I'm going to turn that into a question, Eric. The Ravens have OBJ, who's 30-something now. They have Zay Flowers, and they have the tight end Isaiah Likely, as well as Duvernay and a few other folks. We have Terry, Jahan, Curtis. Do you see our receiving core on par with what the Ravens offer?
I think our receiving core is better than what the Ravens are. The difference is the offensive line, the protection, the ability to protect the quarterback, and a quarterback who's more experienced. In Lamar Jackson as a passer, I think he's answered all the questions you want to ask this year about being a passer. I don't think, the Rams or the Rams made them one dimensional, and Lamar picked them apart. And that has a lot to do, obviously, with great protection. But at the same time, he's just a legit quarterback. And I think that's the huge difference, because the protection for Sam Howell isn't going to be there. So it doesn't really matter. We've seen this year so far. It doesn't matter if our receivers are running wide open. If our quarterback's running for his life, it's just not going to be the same game. And, Aaron Donald against this offensive line. Okay. I don't know how it's going to work out. If Bieniemy goes back to this philosophy of, the quick game, like he did kind of in the midseason when the offense was playing a little better, there might be something there, because again, the Rams did give up some plays in the pass game, but the protection isn't going to be there. So it's going to be a lot of Sam Howell improvising like he's been doing the last couple of weeks with the receivers running 15 yards downfield. So it's not a good recipe for success, but I don't see things at this point in the season changing.
Yeah, I would completely agree with you. I just really don't see a path to victory here. We have nothing to play for. The Rams are still vying for a wild card spot. They are, like I said, they are on fire lately in terms of their ability to move the football. They are a really good football team as of late. And I just like the motivation, equivalence is just not there. Our team should be playing for pride, but they really haven't come out and shown they want to do that at all in the last several games. So, Eric, let's stick to the game specifically. Are there any players in this game that you really want to see do something more than maybe other players?
I think Emmanuel Forbes is on track to play. I'd like to see him, see how he rebounds from his first injury and see if he can come out and make anything happen. but very unlikely just based on how this defense plays in general. It's not something that one man can fix. Um, I'd like to see obviously Sam Howell. I'd like to see how he respond, or how he looks coming off a bye week. Had a chance to heal up a little bit. Again, I think he's just going to be running around like he has been the last couple of weeks. Um, like you said, Lamar Jackson kind of picked him apart last week with his legs as well. Sam has that ability, maybe not to Lamar Jackson's level, but we've certainly seen him do it. And maybe get Terry McLaurin a few targets this week and try to connect with him instead of just having him do cardio, as he said.
Who did you take that as a jab towards the
100,
offense when Terry
100%? Yeah,
towards
absolutely.
Bieniemy?
I think he's frustrated. Yeah, I think he's just he's out there running around doing everything he can, and he's not getting any help from his offensive coordinator.
Yeah. You mentioned it, and it's something, and I want to jump into that. But I love what you said about Forbes, because if he plays, he's got to start showing something. It's really going to be important for him going into the offseason to go out on a positive note. The other person for me is Jahan Dotson. With all the drops this year and the inconsistencies, I think it's really, really important for him and his confidence to go into the offseason in a really good place and finishing really strong. So I want to see that. At this point, I'm not overly concerned about the score of the game. It's more how we play. I want to talk to you about Sam Howell and what he needs to do the rest of the way for him to make his case for the next regime. Sam Howell, he led the league in passing or was close. I think now he's down to 10th, I think, or something like that, now that all the teams have played. He does have the turnovers, the sacks, but he's been, putting up a lot of yardage. What do you need to see from Howell the rest of the way in terms of win-loss record, touchdown to interception ratio, sacks? I don't need specific numbers, but just kind of what you're looking at in those areas from Howell from here on out that you think would make a strong enough case for him to be back next year. Not back because he'll be on the roster, but competing for a starting job.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything he can do either way. I think he's shown this year that he's not the problem. It's just he may not be the solution either. I think he just needs to put up, you'd like to see him clean up the interceptions and, the sacks. But if he's getting dropped back that much with, what we're doing on offense, you're just going to see that type of stuff. And if we're chasing points and we're chucking it all over the place, it's more likely than not that he's just going to make a bad throw at one point. It just happens when you throw 50 times a game. Curious, I meant to look that up at some point, like how many guys with 45 plus attempts don't throw interceptions, like how many games like that there are. I just don't think there are many. You just do.
Yeah.
Obviously I'd like to see him start throwing touchdown passes again, because he hasn't done that in a couple of weeks. Again, that's more, it has a lot to do. There's a lot of factors that go into the lack of production on his part. I think he's picked up the slack with his legs in recent weeks. But I would like to see him, just selfishly, I'd like to see him have some good games just to justify the fact that I like him so much. But it's, it's getting hard. I mean, if he can get a little help from his offensive line and his offensive coordinator and his receivers, I'd like to see some production. Then I'd love to see a win or two. I don't know if it's in the card with the defenses they have coming up the last 4 weeks. But statistically, I mean, sure, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, and 2 sacks a game for the next couple of weeks, and I'm good. It's really just going to be up to what the next regime wants. Do they want to go all in for a quarterback here, trade for Justin Fields, or draft, move up and draft Caleb Williams or Drake May, or, take a chance on what's his name from LSU, Jaden Daniels? I don't know, because I don't know who's going to be here. We'll see what they want. We'll just have to put our trust in them. Do they want to go left tackle and, beef up what's around him, give him some help? It'll be interesting to see. At this point, I think there's enough film on him that whoever is coming in is going to see it and already have an idea by now of what they want.
Yeah, I think just knock off the pick sixes, because even though they may not always be his fault per se, that's a label you don't want on you, right? You just consistently throw pick sixes. And Matt Schaub has a record for 6 games. Matt Schaub never recovered from that. just because once it's there, that label's on you, you're done. I think connecting on the deep ball, coming out of college, the deep ball was his thing, right? Like that was, oh, he's got one of the best deep balls in college football, yada, yada, yada. We ain't seeing it, bro. So we need to see that start to develop a little bit. And maybe that's just chemistry with the receivers, being on the same page. We need to see that. And of course, the sacks got to stop too, or go back to where they were during that stretch that he had where he was really effective. Aside from that, I totally agree with you. I don't think there's really a lot he's going to do outside of those things that we've listed that are going to change or sway the opinion. Generally speaking, at this point, the folks that are coming in have been watching or will have watched enough games to this point to have a pretty good sense of where they want to go. But I think those things can be cleaned up and maybe help him make a stronger case. All right, Eric Bieniemy. Is he ghost toast or I don't know, or roast? That makes no sense. But is Eric Bieniemy? Is there anything that he can do you think, to put himself in a better spot with the regime coming in over these last 4 games?
I don't know. Does he want to? I don't think so. I think that he's a one and done here. He may. There's the rumors that Chicago really likes him for a head coaching candidate. So I think he'll get a lot of interviews for head coach next year, and I think maybe he lands one of those jobs. I don't think it's here though. Going back to what Terry McLaurin said a couple of weeks ago, I mean that the frustration is there with Eric Bieniemy, with the players on this team, and I think ownership probably sees that. It's like, did Terry McLaurin just stop being good at football all of a sudden? Or just become an average receiver all of a sudden? Or is it something with the scheme that he's just not getting the looks or getting the routes that he's good at? Like he doesn't run many slants anymore. That's probably his bread and butter. He runs it, the slant and the deep post, probably the 2 best routes that he runs. And, you don't really see either of them
right
much this year. So I just think that, there's something to, the stuff that's been kind of brewing since the summer when players were kind of complaining about how he changed everything and his attitude and his demeanor. I don't think that's going to change anything. I just don't think he's going to be back here. My money says he's going to be a head coach somewhere next year. But I don't think it will be here. And I don't think, even if he's not a head coach, I don't think he comes back here in any capacity.
Yeah, I think with him, I agree. I don't think he's back here. I don't think there's anything you can do to be back here, even if we ripped off the last 4 games, because at that point it still doesn't matter. But the head coaching rumor from Josina Anderson, Josina is insanely accurate with her reports, generally speaking. I just didn't see that put out anywhere else though to corroborate that. So I don't know how. I don't know. I could see it in a way if they were keeping Fields. If they're not keeping Fields, then it wouldn't make any sense to me. But aside from that, I would be surprised if he got a lot of head coaching looks, because that issue with players is real, right? That whole thing with Patrick Mahomes and Bieniemy and Kansas City and Shady McCoy, and I think even Kelsey to some degree. I can't remember, and now what happens? They come here and it's like, oh well, players are complaining about Bieniemy's style. Now Bieniemy's old school, they're not, whatever, but it's a real thing. I hope he gets opportunities. I hope he gets his chance to be a head coach and bring on the folks that he wants to. But I think at this point here in Washington, I think that thing is signed, sealed, and delivered. It's out of here.
I think it really depends on how people view what Sam Howell did this year, because there's been a lot of bad with Sam Howell, but there's been a lot of good, and he's tied to Eric Bieniemy. So if a team like Chicago, if they draft Caleb Williams and they like what he did with what Eric Bieniemy did with Sam Howell this year, then why not bring him in with your young quarterback? I don't think he goes anywhere with an established. I don't think San Diego, that was kind of my thing early in the season, as I thought he was going to be San Diego's head coach. I don't see it this year. I think Belichick's going to end up in San Diego, personally. But, I can see New England actually as a place where he can end up, because New England's going to be in the quarterback market too. Chicago, New England, those are probably the top 2 for me where he could end up. But I think it's going to depend on how people think he did, or how much of Sam Howell's success and failures are tied to Bieniemy this year.
That's a solid point. I could also see him going to Pittsburgh, becoming the OC there under Tomlin as well, because they fired Matt Canada. But man, that's a really good point, Eric. The bye week happened. Rivera's taking over the defense the game prior. Do you think we'll see any changes on defense coming out of the bye week, or do you think it'll
No,
just be more of the same?
no, it's gonna have slower linebacker play because Jamin Davis is out. So
Yeah, that's
now you got Cody Barton and David Mayo back there roaming the. That doesn't scare anybody. Um, I don't see how stuff gets fixed. I mean, they had basically a bye week last time. After the Dallas game going into the Miami game, you had a week and a half off. It was basically a bye week, and you
yeah,
couldn't get it right. This is just nearly as explosive an offense lately as what we saw with Miami. They've got dangerous. They don't have Tyreek Hill, but I mean Cooper Kupp is ridiculous. Puka Nakua is having a fantastic rookie year. They're a little banged up at the tight end position, I think, out there. But then you throw in they've got basically like A Chain Light, and Williams, and then they're just an all around balanced offense coming out of LA. And I just don't think our defense, even if the scheme is fixed, I just don't think the talent is there anymore to even compete with that. Because really,
yeah,
with the edges gone, with the injuries at linebacker, the safeties have been inconsistent all year. But Curl is Curl. I think he's good. I don't see it. I don't think St. Juste is all that great. He's going to be able to hang with them. So I don't see this being a good game. I don't see any changes to the defense. Holding them under 40 would be a plus, but that's not a guarantee anymore either.
yeah. And they also have Sean McVay, who's not a bad offensive mind either,
Right.
behind them. Yeah, that's tough. And I agree with you. Seattle had the Legion of Boom. We have Easter Island at middle linebackers. They're just stuck in where they are. They're not moving. Let's go rapid fire. I just want to know what you want to see from certain players the rest of the season. Brian Robinson, what do you want to see from him the rest of the way?
I would like to see him touch the ball. Good things happen when he gets the ball. He just doesn't get it enough. I think he's been good in the passing game this year. More of that, please. He's been a really good outlet option for Sam Howell. I would love to see the running game happen, even if it is against this tough Rams defense. You got to run the ball. I mean, it's week 14, and we're still talking about it, so it's probably not going to happen. But yeah, I would love to see Brian Robinson just get some action, get some reps, take a little bit of pressure off the quarterback.
Curtis Samuel coming up on a year where I think you can get out of his deal. What do you want to see from him?
I don't want to get out of his deal though. He's been great this year. He's been the best receiver we have this year.
Yeah,
This is the Samuel that we thought we were getting 2 years ago, and it's sad. I think this is actually I think he's a straight free agent. I don't even think it's getting out of his deal. Like I think
yeah,
I think he only signed like a 3-year contract. Maybe it
yeah.
was 4, but yeah, I think he's a straight up free agent. I would love to have him back because he's really been a great security blanket for Sam Howell this year.
Yeah, I think it was like our 10th show when we signed Curtis Samuel all those years ago, man. You're right. I think that deal is over. What about
Yeah.
Logan Thomas, man?
Man, try not to break a hip on the field. I don't know, man. It's nice to have a tight. I mean, he's been reasonably okay this year when he's been healthy. I mean, the dirty hit from Kareem Jackson kind of derailed his season early on. He's had some good games. Just he's Logan Thomas. He is what he is at this point. You're not gonna you're not gonna get that 11 catch 120-yard game from him. You're gonna get 6 catches and 45 yards. So just be there when you're called upon.
He's gone after this season.
Yeah, I think so.
You agree?
He's 33 now,
Yeah. I
slowing
think
down visibly. Yeah.
yep. Let's talk. Let's see. Defense. It's hard to find people, man. What do you want to see from Cam Curl the rest of the way? On the verge of a big deal, maybe?
Cam Curl has forced 1 fumble in his career. I would like to see him create a turnover. That's all I want to see from him. He's another one I would like to have back because, in spite of everything that's happened on defense this year, he's just a solid safety, and he'll be missed if he's not here.
Yeah. He might not be making all the plays that you'd want, but man, he's one of those dudes, man. You don't have him, you're
He's a
much
coach on
worse
the field. Yeah, he's a smart player, coach on the field. Sound. He's a sound player, and like I said, he's not a ball hawk or a turnover machine, but he just does his job and he does it really well.
Yep. Kendall Fuller. I think he's coming up on an expiring deal as well, too. So what do you want to see from him the rest of the way?
Yeah, he's been okay this year. I think if Kendall Fuller at this point in his career is your best corner, you're in a lot of trouble, and that's where we're at this year. He's been our best corner, and we're just not very good at corner. So yeah, he's going to draw probably Cooper Cup a lot this week, and we'll see what he does with him. I like his chances, but I mean, he's just it's a group effort in the secondary, and the group just all has their own agendas apparently.
They definitely do. What about Mr. You see this, Eric? Mr. himself, buckle up with the pass interference call himself, Benjamin St. Juice. What do you want to see from him?
Yeah, I'd like to see him with a bus ticket in his hand. Not even a plane ticket. I want him leaving on a Greyhound. No, what's the ghetto one? A lead coach. That's where he needs to be leaving on. That was the old one you get on the high school field trips. You get the lead coaches. Yeah, I don't know, man. He's just he's gotten away with more pass interferences than he's been called with. He's so grabby at corner. He's kind of a liability. I've never really been a huge fan of his, and I've really lost a lot of respect for him in the past couple of weeks, just because all he's done is make mistakes and then celebrate when the quarterback throws it 5 yards over the receiver's head. And I just don't need to see that anymore.
Yeah. About done with that. Oh, here's a good one. And this is our last one. Antonio Gibson. What do you need to see from him the rest of the way?
He's looked okay the last couple of weeks too. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to see. What I would like to see from him is I'd like to see him get in the end zone and be like, I'd like to see him and Curtis Samuel be like interchangeable. Because they're both, Gibson. There's slightly, I mean, they're different size-wise players, but they've got that skill set of both being fast and shifty and good in space. I just would love to see those two just work in tandem to be just weapons as they should be, and not the full. When Curtis isn't the focal point of the offense, he's really productive, and I think it's the same thing with Gibson.
Yeah, what a weird career Gibson has had here, man. Rookie year, 14 games. I remember Scott Turner wasn't letting him get on the field that much. He had 795 yards and 11 touchdowns. Then you go to his second year, he had 1,037 yards and 7 touchdowns. And we thought, man, we got ourselves a true RB1. Then 546 yards. And now this year, only 193 yards rush.
And like 6 fumbles last year, too. That was the other thing. He had a ton of fumbles.
That was last year he had one. 2021 he had 5.
Oh, 21 he had a bunch, yeah. And then he fumbled in preseason last year, and that's when they kind of okay.
Yeah. That's what they're doing for Brian Robinson, man.
Yeah.
What could have been?
I just think that the right thing to do with him is just not make him a focal point of the offense. Just have him there as a weapon and an outlet and get him the ball in space.
Yeah.
He's just good at that.
Let people be what they're good at, right? Number one job. Coordinator. So all right. Any final thoughts for this game here?
Get it over with.
Get her done.
Just get her done, man. I just can't even get excited at this point in the season to watch anything. We did get hooked up this week with the Giants and Titans both winning.
Yeah, man.
And the Patriots won, and the Cardinals. The Cardinals aren't winning this week. I think they play 49ers, but
yeah.
Are we staying at 4? Or are we moving up to like 3?
A little tree something. I think we're going to stay at 4. I think the teams in front of us are going to lose out. The only team that might win is the Bears, and they have a pretty tough schedule themselves.
Don't they play the Cardinals? Like, I thought 2 of the teams played each other. I could be wrong on that. I can't remember now, but
I think so.
I feel like the Cardinals had another. I'll look at the schedule real quick, but I'm pretty sure the Cardinals have a winnable, at least one more winnable game. Like the Patriots play the Jets, so that's possible. If Zach Wilson doesn't play.
You're right.
The Cardinals play Chicago. Yeah, they play San Francisco, Chicago, Philly, and Seattle. So I guess we're rooting for the Cardinals in that one because I'm on Tankathon, just because Tankathon gives you everything. Because the Cardinals, if we finish with the same record as the Cardinals, we would pick higher because of strength of schedule, they have a higher strength of schedule than we do. So we would jump to 3 if we finish the same as the Cardinals. And by the way, I hate talking about this. I hate that we have to do this every year and like start playing for draft picks, but it just is what it is. Yeah, the Patriots have Kansas City, Denver, Buffalo, and the Jets. So maybe the Jets, if who knows? But I don't see another.
Aaron Rodgers supposed to be back that game. Okay, he's supposed to be back against us actually.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Medically cleared, man.
Yeah, sure, whatever. So yeah, maybe both of those guys pull off 2 wins and we leapfrog them. And then we pick second, and then we have our choice of quarterback, and things get really interesting in the offseason.
Very
I'm
interesting. The
I'm
Bear.
team left tackle, just in case anybody's wondering. I'm team left tackle.
I'm team let the new GM decide what he wants to do because he's got to live by that. So
Fashanu for show.
show. All right. Listen, guys, if you've made it this far,
Oh, score
subscribe.
prediction. What's our score prediction? We gotta do
Oh,
that first.
right. Caught me slipping.
Yeah.
Look, the Rams put up almost a 40 piece last week. I don't know what the score was. I think it was like they got almost 30,
37, 31.
Yeah,
31 on the Ravens.
Okay, and
We're
that's
not
against
up.
the Ravens defense. I think the score is going to be 37 Rams to 19 Commanders because we are right back to the Scott Turner score. That's what I think. We just haven't been good offensively as of late. What do you think, Eric?
Yeah, 19 is good. Actually, I think it was who was it? Craig Hoffman earlier this week said that like I don't want to. I'll say it was Hoffman. I could be wrong, but he was like, "Yeah, we basically have the West Coast version of Scott Turner on offense this year," and he ain't wrong. He's not wrong. I do think we give up a 40 burger for the 3rd week in a row. So I'm gonna go. I'll say 45 because that's what we're doing, and I'll go 45-19 too. Keep it real for the Scott Turner peeps. So 45-19 Rams.
Yeah, and Brian sent his projections. He said, let's see, Sam Howell goes 10 for 48, 9 pick. No, I'm just kidding. Brian, I'm guessing Brian's going to pick us to win because,
No.
Well, he said the floor was 11 wins. No, I'm just kidding. I think, shout out to you, Brian. We're just giving you a hard time. What do you think Brian would pick this game to be? I think Brian would probably go 26 to 18.
Yeah, I'd say like 31-16, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
I'd say, 31-16. I'll go that. Brian says 30.
Yeah.
What does Mike say? You tell me what Mike says.
Mike's usually pretty conservative with his picks. I'm going to say Mike is 22 to 28 Rams. That would be what Mike says.
Yeah. Okay, I was about to say, if we hold the Rams to 22,
we're doing something.
Rams, yeah.
Bring back Ron Rivera, right?
Yeah.
Not at all. All right, now this time, if you've made it this far, comment, like, subscribe, give us your score predictions in the comments. Tell us what you want to see from your favorite players the rest of the way in the comments, and we'll go through, read them. We share them in the group chat too, so we can talk about what you guys are saying about the show, about us, and about your football team. We appreciate each and every one of you. Have a great day. Don't forget to go to DraftKings.com, use promo code CDP11, and get your money, man. We are out of here.